Focusing is not meant to be difficult. Focusing is actually supposed to be effortless because to focus on something is to maintain your awareness on one singular point. And that is actually the default. The default of our consciousness is to be focused on one thing. We actually are only ever really truly focused on one thing. There's no such thing as multitasking. That's just a thought form that has taken hold of humanity to think that you can do two things at once. But what's really happening is that you're just redirecting your attention consistently. But to redirect your attention, that takes energy. And that means if it takes energy to redirect your attention and that focusing on one thing is actually quite effortless, well, that means that we need to then get the things out of the way that are making us diverge our attention or fracturing our attention. Just like being one core identity is the default because we all come from the same thing, we all come from singular source. And so if at the default, the core of who we are, fundamentally speaking, is one thing, well, then our being is the same way. It's a reflection of source, right? We might be a finite, individualized expression of the infinite source, right? But that doesn't mean that we internally are fractured. That is just the distortions in our minds, the distortions in our perception that lead to us to act in different situations differently, or to perceive ourselves as distinct individualized entities as opposed to one piece of a universal whole. We are fractals of creation, but we are not separate from creation. We're all part of the same thing. So with that said, we come from source, which is unified, and we come from a undivided consciousness. And so focus is just undivided consciousness. Honing yourself on one singular point is the default. Doesn't mean that it's easy inherently, and the reason why it's not easy on earth as human beings is because we have been fractured, we have been desensitized, we have been separated from ourselves and from each other. And to focus on one thing then is not about doing more. It's not supposed to take more energy to focus. It's actually taking more energy not to focus. You have different parts of yourself that are looking in different directions, and you are moving your awareness across those different subpersonalities. And so to naturally focus, you need to become one singular being, one singular entity internally, which just means, simply put, healing the fractions and the distortions and the separations internally, doing the inner work. Doing that inner process, melding the fractures internally. And that is done through inner work, shadow work, integration, or spiritual practices, or whatever it may be, journaling, introspection, healing, the good stuff, the good things that we all know and love, right? Through the spiritual processes, these are the things that yogis talk about. These are the things that the Eastern sages talk about, and religious leaders talk about, for better or for worse. Not everyone is equal in their capacity to elucidate or to explain these concepts, but you understand the point. So focusing is not yet, don't think, oh, I need to do more to focus. I need to do X, Y, and Z. I need to exert more energy to focus. No, it's about relaxing. It's almost like looking at something, right? The harder you look at something doesn't mean that you're going to look at it better. It's more about laying your awareness on something or laying your focus on something and allowing your attention to rest on something without diverting your attention, which actually takes more energy. Because again, trauma, stress, internal fractures. So when you're watching this video, as you've been watching this video, how focused were you? How easy was it for you to maintain your awareness on this singular point and to be in the present moment? Because actually not being in the present moment is an illusion, one, and two, to project your consciousness into the future or into the past or around you and different points and shifting it, that takes energy, that takes effort. That is more difficult, believe it or not. We've just become so used to it, we've become desensitized to constantly shifting our awareness, shifting our attention, that we think that that is actually easier than just resting our attention on one singular thing without diverting our focus, diverting our attention, being present. You understand? So that's just really as simple as it put. If you cannot focus, if your attention is constantly shifting, that is a trauma response, that is stress, that is energy exertion, that is programming, subconscious programming that needs to be worked on. If you want to focus, if you like your ADHD, you like being able to divert your attention, that's wonderful and good. I also have ADHD, so I'm not saying that it's inherently bad, but there is that superpower within ADHD, which is hyper focus when you have the right thing, the right stimulus to point your attention at. And then it becomes effortless, right? But you want to be mindful of not having it be obsessive. Because effortless and obsessive are two very different concepts. And to have effortless attention as opposed to obsessive attention is healing, internal healing, healing the different parts of yourself so they're all focused on the same goal. They're all working on the same team. They're not looking in different directions. They're all looking at the same exact point. If you want help with that, I have a transformation guide you can get down below in the description, amirthealchemist.com. You can get the transformation guide and also building a community where we're all working on healing our internal parts together. Thank you for your time.